Do you self-destruct when things are going well because you were brought up to feel like you don't deserve it, that there's something bad in you, that, you know, you're not worthy of this? I'm putting this video on YouTube and my Facebook page, but I just wanted to be able to share with you the various things that are going on as you self-sabotaging, or what you're calling self-sabotage, like this part of you that is destructing. So it can be, you know, many things that we are doing when we're destructing. It could be acting on jealousy. It could be drinking. It could be having an affair. It could be self-harming. It could be taking drugs. There's so many ways that we can self-destruct because we don't feel worthy of our goodness. That's one side of it. The other side of it is that there's a part of our soul that's trying to tell us that what is happening isn't quite the direction we need to go in, and we need to shift, but we haven't been listening, so this part rebels. So I'm not going to be talking about that so much today. I want to talk about this part that is just in a destructive state that is killing off your good. And it happens to a lot of us who have had physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, because all of those make us feel like we don't matter, we're not worthy of stuff, we're unlovable, and then we repeat that in our lives. So let's have a look at this and see what is the impact of this, and then how we can regulate ourselves and care for ourselves. So the first thing we want to see is, when we're self-destructing, we want to see, where is this part in our body? So just tune into ourselves and feel, where is this like compulsion or this urge or this like inside of us that just wants to kill off all our good in the world, and feel, where is it inside of ourselves? And then we want to turn to it with empathy and care. We want to breathe into it and see what is there. And most frequently when we do that, we'll find emotions of self-hate, of anger towards ourselves, of fear, of shame about who we are, that we're wanting to show people, like, will you still love me if I'm like this? Or, I don't deserve this. Can you not see I don't deserve this because of what happened in the past? And that's not the truth at all. The truth is, you're so worthy and deserving of goodness and love and care and cherishing and respect. But when we have this self-destructive part, it's kind of like all the worst things that we've been mocked, criticized, maimed, shamed about, all come up and just like flail around trying to kill off our good. So like I was saying, we want to tune into where it is in our body and welcome it and say, hi, you know, I see you. I see what you're doing, with no blame, no shame, no criticism. We want to turn towards it with care and welcome and say, I can understand that you have been treated so much like you're not worthy, like you're not deserving, and I am so sorry that you've gone through this. And then you want to see, how do you feel towards these parts? You want to notice, are you feeling angry with it? You're making it wrong. You are putting it down just like you had in childhood. Then you want to work through these emotions and make space until you get to a place of curiosity and care for this self-sabotage. And see its strength and its determination, and see what it's doing, like the power inside of it. Because we don't want to just reject that part of ourselves. We want to channel that energy into something beautiful, something good for us, something honoring. But until we understand this energy, we're not able to utilize its power. So we want to see, where did it come from? And what's its purpose here? You can ask it, why are you here? What have you come for? What are you doing? And meet it with care and empathy and a celebration that it's willing to put its neck out to speak with you. And then I want you to look at, what is your vision for your life? And there will be thoughts around that, like, I couldn't achieve this, I don't deserve this. Then you want to empathize with these parts that have been led to believe that over your life through all the abuse or the challenges that you've had that have led you to this negative and harsh thinking about yourself. You want to meet those with empathy and care. And then you want to see this vision and align this sabotaging part and say, I want to work towards that. What are your thoughts about this? What is there? Why is this a struggle of to create that in our life? And then I want you to listen to it and explore it and see, what are the fears about that? What are the issues that it's worried might happen there? And then you can create a structure for it of saying, I can understand your worries because of based in the past when you had things that were good. Like, for instance, if you were sexually abused in a relationship, then as soon as somebody is treating you kindly and nicely, it triggers the fear parts of your brain that are like, this is so much like the priming that I had of somebody being nice and now they're going to be violent, so I'm going to push them away first before that happens because I'm not going to be violated again. Then you want to meet this part of you that's being this protector, this self-sabotaging, looks awful on the outside, but actually it's protecting you from harm again. And so you want to meet this protective side of it and say, I really get that you're trying to save me from this pain again, this violation again. Let's check and see if this is what's happening, or if you're living in the past and still living out that pain and that fear from the past. And if it is, then it's worth doing therapy on that moment. It's worth doing a session on whether it's brain spotting or attachment therapy or processing it, because if that issue in the past has not been digested, then it's kind of like your stomach's having cramps and you think, oh, what's going on with my stomach? This is like, oh, I can't function because it's not digesting. That's the same thing as when a memory isn't processed. It kind of shows up in behaviors in the world until you process it, and then that behavior won't happen anymore. So reach out if that is going on for you so that you can get support, and you can do a session on processing whatever memory is there. So that's the self-sabotaging and destructive thing. Let's look at the other things that happen when that is occurring. One is you can't sleep because it's just sort of processing all the behaviors that are going on. When that's happening, when I can't sleep, generally cortisol is flying high. So then I try to up my exercise, like going for a long walk before bedtime so that the cortisol can be processed, or shaking, or dancing it out so that the cortisol can move. I also, in times of high stress, when I'm over panicked, then I use a meditation, just on YouTube, a meditation CD to get to sleep. And I have found that if I do a 40-minute one, it wakes me up as I cycle again. The 20-minute one is just long enough to get me to sleep and staying asleep. The 15-minute long one is not quite long enough, and I wake up after the 15 minutes going, I thought there was music going on. So for me, I've worked out that the 20-minute one is the best, and that gets me to sleep the easiest or the quickest. So those two things, exercise and the meditation CD, are the best. Then in terms of when you are this sabotaging because you feel like you don't get this you don't have a sense of your good because there's this deep emptiness of the lack of love that you've always had in your life, because of the emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, whatever has happened that's left you feeling empty about yourself. Frequently when we have this emptiness, we often create outside drama or outside conflict or outside intensity to fill ourselves up, because that energy gives us sensory stimulation, like I'm here and I'm alive, whereas in the emptiness we feel bleak, we feel depressed, and that conflict or stress or sabotage gives us this aliveness. And often that comes from we're not actually stretching ourselves to create our dreams, so we create this big mess and muddle around us because we don't know how to access our dreams. And I've just experienced that with a friend who was in fear about creating his dreams and his life, and he got jealous of me creating mine, so he started creating drama. And I was just like, right, everybody who's got involved in that, I'm blocking you and I'm focusing on my dreams because that's more important to me than engaging with that drama. And that has just freed me up so much to be able to do that, because I don't want that in my life. I want my energy to be focused on creating a great life and creating my dreams. But in order to do this, I have to meet that emptiness and see, hey, emptiness, what is there that makes you feel so empty, and what would make you feel fulfilled? What would give you purpose? What would create a celebration and a goodness in your life that you loved? So I meet this emptiness. First, I empathize and I care for it, and I see how it's carving me, because it's in those empty carving spaces that we grow visions and dreams and what we want to create in the world. So I allow, and sometimes it feels quite painful, that emptiness. But instead of like running away from it, I turn towards that emptiness and allow, the word that I describes it the most is like carving my soul for greater good. So when I feel that emptiness, I just fully allow it and embrace it, and I just imagine it carving my soul for greater good. And then I wait in that space, in that emptiness, to see what is wanting to be created out of it. And it feels harsh and it feels painful, because there's such yearning and longing and agony in that emptiness of not being loved. And I sit in it and I allow that to carve my soul. And then I see, what is it that I really want in my world? Where is it that I would be valued, and where I can give my gifts, where they're appreciated and celebrated, where I'm living a life that delights me in my own uniqueness, in my own weirdness. And then I allow myself to go, okay, that's the dream that I want to create for who I am and for what I want to do. And when I see the drama, I'm just like, nah, that's to fill the gap of that emptiness. I'm not going to have that drama or that conflict, because otherwise all my energy is going to that, and I don't have the energy for creating more and better goodness in my life, so that I'm cherishing who I am. So then I shut the doors to that conflict, to that self-sabotage, to that behavior that isn't serving me, or the relationships that are toxic, that are taking my energy, taking my mind space, that are filling me up so much that I can't think of my dreams. And then I set out, what is it in this big dream, whether it's a 10-year goal, and bringing it down to now, what do I need to do right now? So we looked at the self-sabotage, we've looked at sleep, and now I want to just look at the emptiness. We've looked at the emptiness, and now I want to look at the shame that we feel around this self-sabotage. So when we get into relationships that are toxic, or we're doing behaviors that are toxic, where we are destroying and destructing ourselves, or our relationships, whether it's alcohol, drugs, affairs, whatever it might be, we want to turn to this shame and meet it with love and care, and not allow it to become like a second skin, because then we view the whole world as though we're not worthy and deserving of goodness. Instead of going, that behavior is trying to communicate something to us, and we need to look at what that behavior is communicating. Who we are is good and loving and worthy and deserving of goodness and care. But that behavior of whatever we're doing isn't necessarily healthy, and it's trying to communicate something that's going on for our souls. So let's look at that behavior and see what it's trying to say to us, so that we wake up to what it's trying to say, and not allow shame to settle like a second skin, where we just feel embarrassed and awkward in ourselves, because then that's when we can't sleep at night and we feel awful about ourselves because it's so intense. So if you feel that shame kind of burning on your skin, I want you to tune into it with empathy, and let yourself know that you are good, but this behavior is trying to communicate something to you about what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're needing. And instead of getting like stuck in the shame, we want to face whatever that behavior is with empathy, with care, with love, with cherishing, and say to ourselves, we never deserved that treatment in childhood where we were taught that we are bad, unlovable, unworthy. All of that is a lie. That's the impact of abuse. The reality is you were born for love and you deserve love. And everything else is a lie. This is a beautiful, magical universe. Things keep growing and shining, and we can do that too. But we need to know and believe in ourselves. And I know I've shared a lot of times that in Afrikaans, lief is love. And in Afrikaans they say ek is lief vir jou, which means I am in love with you, or I have love for you. And to have belief in yourself is to love you. And that's an antidote to shame, of going, I see who you are, I believe in you, and things are going to change. And when you feel this skin burning in shame, I want you to love and hug and hold yourself and say, you never deserved to be treated with this level of shame and being made wrong. That's abuse. You only deserved love and care and goodness. And now every day, in every way, in every step you take, it can be a step towards being kind to you and all the behaviors that you have, knowing that behavior is trying to communicate something to you that needs healing, that needs new skills, that needs new belief, that needs a new way of feeling about yourself, that needs new thinking about who you are. So look at those things and see what is calling to be met and loved and cared for in you. I'm sending you so much love. And whatever it is that's coming up in you as you're looking at where this shame comes from, I want you to weave love and goodness to this part of you. And let yourself know as a little child, you never deserved that. You were never bad. Your parents or whoever was around you didn't have the skills to be able to meet you with love and care. And that's all you've ever deserved. So I'm sending you love, and I hope that helps for anybody who is self-destructing and self-sabotaging. Lots of love.